Alrighty, guys, welcome into the After Schrock. Good to have you here. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes to get or not a couple minutes, that'd be ridiculous, but a couple seconds to get themselves connected before we jump on in. How was your week? Did everybody have a good week? Crazy stuff. The world is just absolutely crazy right now. There's a million different news stories that we could go in so many different directions about what's going to happen next. I mean, mortgage rates are almost at 7% on a house now. I heard this brought up in a way that was really informative. So when interest rates were down at their lows, if you could afford $2,000 a month for a house payment, you could buy a $500,000 house or a $450,000 house. With interest rates where they are now, that same $2,000 a month buys you a $250,000 house. So that's the impact that it's having on just the housing industry. And all these indicators, those are lagging indicators. So like everyone's looking at it now like, that's not so bad. But what you don't realize is like they could drop the interest rates to zero tomorrow and you're going to have months of just negative, awful stuff come down the pipeline for what's already happening and it's on the way. So it's just that alone, that one story alone, so much of an impact on everything around us. I'm reading articles that the food that's hitting our shelves next month will be the first food that was grown by farmers during the time when diesel prices were high and fertilizer costs were insane. So we could see another 10% food inflation next month, potentially. Just, again, who knows if it's going to happen or not, but man, I mean, you look at people on a fixed income that are, Social Security recipients are getting like an 8% increase or something. And you're like, woo! But then you're 20% food cost increase. So as long as you don't eat, you're fine. I mean, that's great. All right, let's see. Welcome aboard, Mitch. Morning, Mary. Roger's back. Thank you, Winston. Appreciate the audio check. Randy is here. Good morning, Schrockville from Grand Island. Good to have you, Mark. So, what do you guys want to talk about today? Obviously, I could talk all day long about the holiday special. Gosh, there's like I said, there's news all around us. So, what do you guys want to talk about? I'll let you kind of lead the conversation today. Sorry I didn't have one last week, guys. I had something going on. I couldn't. I got a lot of flack for it, actually. I'm like, this is a freebie show. Like, I don't have to do this. And it's like I do. There are people who said, why don't you charge for the After Schrock? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Then it becomes like a thing, right? Like if you charge for it, I feel like then I've got to prepare and I've got to like have stacked up news stories and it becomes like a whole nother show, right? But if I give it away for free and it sucks, well, then it doesn't matter, It's like you get what you pay for. All right, let's see. The problem is, according to Joe, if the Republicans get into office, the interest rates will go up. Well, I think the interest rates are going to go up regardless of who gets into office. This is the thing. It's like I don't think electing, even if Republicans take the House and the Senate, the best that you can hope for is gridlock, because I just don't see. Number one, if Joe Biden, this is my opinion, but if Joe Biden was actually running the country, there might be a chance for a Clintonian kind of triangulation where, he sees the writing on the wall. He wants to be reelected for a second term, so he comes back to the middle, right? But I don't think he's checked in all the time. Definitely there are moments where he's there, but I don't think he's actually running the show. How could he be? He only works 3 hours a day, 4 days a week. He's the president of the United States and he works 12 hours a week. How could he be running the show? So his staff is doing it for him. The underlings are doing it for him, and they are ideologues. They are not changing policies. They're not changing the way things are done. No one's been fired from his administration or left or quit. How is that possible? How is he not burning people out with the rate of change and stuff that he's going through? The only person who's left has been Psaki, who had to go out every day and defend what was happening in the economy. At least she was kind of good at it. I mean, you're asking her to say things all day long that skirt the boundaries of genuineness. Let's be generous here. And she was good at it. I don't understand. And so I don't think there's going to be a pivot. I don't think even if the Republicans sweep everything, I don't think there's going to be a massive pivot. I think things are going to get worse. And when they get worse, then they'll be able to, then what Joe Biden's line will be is, I told you that if you elected Republicans, it was going to get worse. And they're obstructing everything we're trying to do to fix the problem, which would just make the problem worse. But that's why it's being obstructed. But we're trying to fix the problem, and the Republicans don't have any solutions. They're just the party of no. They're just obstructing. And that's what I'm afraid of, is that I haven't heard the supply side message yet, which in my opinion is the solution to all the economic problems we're having right now. So you want to reduce inflation? You can do that by crushing demand. So basically, inflation occurs when there is too many dollars and too few goods. You get inflation. So the idea here is, if we crush demand, if people buy less stuff, do less things, have less disposable income to do things with, that will increase the supply of goods, which will bring down inflation. Well, what about the other side of the equation? This is what no one in government ever... Okay, they don't understand that if there's more business activity, the government gets more tax revenue. It actually makes more money than if they raise taxes, which depresses business activity, which results in less income. So, I mean, I don't know how many times you have to... John F. Kennedy showed you this. I mean, how many times do you have to do this? Ronald Reagan showed you this. You have to do it over and over and over. Donald Trump showed you this. And then every time a Democrat comes along and raises taxes, the only example of a time in recent history when taxes went up and there was a subsequent economic boom was the dot-com era under Bill Clinton, which was a bubble that popped and caused a huge financial washout. So, too much money chasing too few goods. Well, let's get more goods. Get more goods. Make more stuff. Produce things. Make life easier for business owners so I can get the monitors that I need to put with my holiday specials to sell to you who want the holiday specials. It makes sense, right? Then all of a sudden my people are gainfully employed. They go out and they spend their money at other businesses and restaurants and things who make money and pay their people who spend money, and it creates a positive snowball effect. But instead what we have is the Federal Reserve saying we have to crush demand. So how do you crush demand? Well, you take people's money away. I mean, it sounds sinister, but that's really what's happening. We take people's money away. We push down the value of their equities, so your retirement accounts go down. We push down the value of your homes, so your asset prices go down. We cause a recession, so commodity prices come down because there's less demand for commodities. And then all of a sudden, because everyone has less money, inflation goes away. And yay, we solved the problem. Now everybody is equally miserable, but there's no inflation. But the prices are never going to go back to what they were before, guys. We're paying Disneyland prices. Like the last time I went to Disneyland, or Disney World in Florida, and I'm looking at the vending machine, and I'm like, a bottle of Coke is $2.50? You got to be kidding. I didn't say kidding. Me. $2.50 for a bottle of soda? Well, you're at Disney, Now it's like $2 for a bottle of soda outside the Walmart, Remember it used to be a quarter a can? I mean, and it's a generic soda. It's not even, it's like, Captain Pepper or something, It's like not even the real stuff. So I don't know. It's not quite that bad. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But you get the idea. Like, we're paying so much more. And then, have you picked up a bag of chips recently? Am I the only one that's picked up like an actual full-size bag of Doritos, not the party size, but like the regular bag of Doritos, and thought to myself, this isn't that much bigger? Like what's in the bag doesn't feel that much bigger than what you used to buy for $1 at the gas station in the smaller bags. But it's in a bigger bag, and you're paying $4 for it. And of course, it's more weight, it's more in the bag, but it's not that much more. I don't know, it just... You're seeing products shrinking. You're seeing the prices go up for what you're getting. You're seeing, like I mentioned, we're paying an average of $3 more per hour per employee. It's like I have 5 employees on the payroll that I don't actually have over last year. If that continues, if it keeps getting worse and we keep having to increase pay, this is what the Fed is trying to avoid. They're trying to crush this so we don't get runaway inflation, where basically everybody expects more inflation, so the businesses start charging more to get ahead of it, which causes employees to have to pay more for what they buy, so they demand raises from their bosses, which causes labor costs to go up, which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for the bosses who anticipated higher inflation in wages, and that's why they raised the prices the first time. Now they're going to raise them again, and we just get this price wage inflation cycle. So they're trying to avoid that. They're trying to short circuit that by destroying everybody's wealth, basically, or the impression, the feeling of wealth in everybody. It's cyclic, so the Fed giveth and the Fed taketh away. The Fed's been in the giving mode for a long time, and there's a genuine question here: is how long can the Fed keep doing this before something really serious breaks? For example, what you haven't heard in any of the financial news, you may have heard rumblings about Credit Suisse, which, why would you care about a Switzerland bank, right? The dollar is so strong right now that demand for the dollar is off the charts. It's hard to get dollars, and a lot of things are denominated in dollars. So if you're paying on bonds and things like that, you have to pay them in dollars, and it's hard to get dollars, so the dollars cost more. Well, the Federal Reserve just sent I don't want to get this wrong. It was $6 billion, a $6 billion swap line to Credit Suisse, overnight swaps. Why does Credit Suisse need $6 billion in overnight money at 3.3% interest rate? What are they doing? What's the problem that they have such a funding shortfall? That was $6 billion. The week before that, it was $3 billion. So it's doubled in a week. Is it going to be $12 billion next week and then $24 billion? Is that bank going to eventually implode? Are we going to have like a Lehman moment? I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, we're watching history here, guys. It's playing over again, just like it did last time. Now, the question is the Fed going to break something by raising the rates as far and as fast as they are? Well, I've said it before, reality is real, and capital has a cost. So free money is not real. That's not how it's supposed to be. What I want to know is, how is it that mortgage rates have gone up to 7%, but the best rate that I can get for a savings account at my bank, most favorable account where I don't touch the money, I leave it for a year, the whole bit, is 0.5%, 0.4%. How is that possible? How come I can't put my money in a bank account and get 2% interest? I can get 4% in a 2-year treasury bond right now. So something is really, really broken in the market right now. It's like banks don't want the savers' money. I don't get it. But I suppose if you try to understand it too long, you'll go crazy. All right, so let's see what we got here for comments. Okay, Steve, hello. You should have Kimberly fill in for you on the After Schrock. Oh golly, I don't know. Lovely Kimberly, would you do it if I said, okay, I want you to do the After Schrock? I don't know, guys. There's a reason the lovely Kimberly's not in the HR department, because she will tell you like it is. She will not spare your feelings. So we have a concern about your performance. You suck, and therefore we're going to fire you if your performance doesn't improve. I hope you enjoyed this meeting. Have a great day. This message brought to you by the lovely Kimberly's HR department. All right. Thor, have some time off on the after. Let Thor have some time off. Oh, yeah. Give me a break. Oh, guys. No, it's while we were training new staff, I've been pulling shifts in the service center, 12-hour stretches. So the lovely Kimberly has been pitching in immensely. Like, she was putting kiddos. I'm like the bedtime, bath time dad guy. So, I get home, we have dinner, we play around for a while, then kids get baths, kids get bed, and then mom and dad get to sit down and watch a show or do something or have some mom and dad time together where we decompress and tell each other about our day. Well, when I'm not there, when I have to work till 8, well, the lovely Kimberly doesn't get that break. She goes through and she gives bath time. She does bedtime. Then I come home, and then she's worried have I eaten today? Because sometimes it gets so busy in the service center, I don't stop. So other guys are like, oh, it's time for my lunch hour. And I'm like, hey, there's more to do. I'm going to keep working. Like yesterday, I didn't realize till 6 o'clock that I had not eaten all day. Like, I had not had breakfast. I had not had lunch. I had not had dinner. And I'm like, well, now it's 6 o'clock. What's the point? I'm going to go home and eat. My wife's got food at home for me, so I'll just wait till 8:30 and eat when I get home. Watch the last half of the Husker game while I eat my dinner. It's just that's how it goes when you're in the service center and things are popping and the phones are ringing and holiday specials. People are asking questions. You're getting excited. Then your junior staff is like, "Tell me about this thing, this holiday special thing. This seems like people are really looking forward to this." We had a guy call into the service center who started talking about the holiday special, not realizing that Dawson is in his second week. And so he has no idea what the holiday special even is yet. He's still learning how to put people on hold, okay? And so he's talking about it, and he's telling them how he has saved his money for an entire year to make sure he could buy a holiday special this year. He's put off doing anything to his computers. He hasn't done maintenance. He didn't renew his Sophos. He saved every penny he could so he could buy the holiday special. And Dawson's like, what is this that people are so excited about it? And so I tell him, and as I'm telling him the specs, he's like, Thor, that's ridiculously more than anybody needs for what our customers are doing. You're absolutely right. That's the whole point. The whole point is it's so much more than you need today that 8 years from now, it'll be normal. And you'll be able to use this computer for a decade and get some real value out of it. And so it made a lot of sense. He's like, that makes sense. I'm like, there you go. All righty, let's see here. Richard's here. Good to have you. Sebastian. Why didn't you go see Dr. Larry Arn from Hillsdale College? Why didn't I go see on Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Omaha Marriott Hotel? I would have told you last week. No, somebody did email me and tell me that that was going on. But unfortunately, reality is real. And Tuesday nights, I'm in the Omaha Service Center. So I was working, unfortunately. So I had to pull a shift. This is the world we live in right now. But the good news is we've got some good people that have all the base tech skills in place. They just need to learn Schrock systems and Schrock's methodology and the Schrock mindset of how we do things and why we do the things we do. And once they have the systems in place, they're gonna be rocket ships. So I need one more new hire for the Omaha Service Center to fill out my staff there. I've got a part-time guy who has been out of town for a couple of weeks on vacation who's coming back. That is a little young. He's 15. So we can't work him full time or anything, but he definitely has the technical skills and capabilities, and he's brushing up and working on those the interpersonal skills of basically contacting customers, explaining problems, explaining solutions, and then determining where to go from there. That's where he needs development. So we're working on developing him because going forward, this kid's going to be amazing with Schrock. So yeah, I mean, we have people. It's just we got to get them trained up. So that requires me to be in the service center to make sure things go smooth. Let's see. Did you see the story on John Deere thinking of producing electric tractors and harvesters? How is that even going to work? A farmer is asked about how to charge them in the field. I don't know how you get enough power to actually run those pieces of equipment for that long of. Have you seen how large these devices? I mean, if you're not a farm person, stand next to a combine and you're just dwarfed by the wheel. I mean, it's ridiculous how big and how heavy these machines are, and to think you're going to remove them with electric power, you might be able to. You might be able to get a battery big enough to make things move. Okay. But how long is it going to move? Is it going to actually be able to do what you need it to do in the field for an extended period of time? Or then, like the farmer said, how are you going to charge it? What happens if your battery dies out in the field? How do you get it back? Do you have like a jumper backpack that you carry the battery on it? I don't know how this works. Are they hybrid? Maybe they got a little gas tank so that if you get stuck, you can fire them up and drive them like 25 yards, get them back to base. I don't know. No, I hadn't seen that story, Randy, but it just makes me shake my head. It's like, are they thinking they're going to get tax credits? Like, are these electric vehicles now? Do we get like the $7,000 tax credit? I don't know. All right, maybe talk about scams that seem too common, especially with Microsoft or Google. Okay, yeah, we could talk about this every year, every single day. We get calls in the service center from customers. Some of the calls go like this: Thor, and in the background, your computer has been infected because you have been looking at pornography. Thor, this computer's talking to me and I don't know what to do. And we're like trying to tell them what to do, and the speakers are loud. Can you turn your speakers down? so we can hear you. Okay. So basic stuff. Microsoft, Google, Facebook, any company that you know the name of is not going to call you. Well, I mean, Schrock will call you, but none of those big guys are going to call you, ever, about any problems with your device or your account. They are never, ever, 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 ever going to call you. They're never going to ask you to call them. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Never. So if they ask you to call them or they try to call you, it's a scam. Boom, scam right there. Number 2, where people actually get burnt on this is when you initiate a call because you need help with something. So, for example, let's say you're trying to hook up something Garmin related. So you Google the Garmin support line, except the number that comes up on the Google Quick Answer is not actually the number for Garmin. Somebody has manipulated the search results to create a different phone number to appear in that box. And so you're calling and it's like, welcome to the support line. How can I help you? Oh, I can help you with that. Let's get remoted into your computer. And the whole time you're talking to a scam guy who's getting remoted into your computer. Same thing has happened with D-Link routers. Same thing is, literally any device, any support line. People try to call Microsoft. They get the Microsoft phone. I got a phone number from Microsoft. I called them the other day. They helped me out with my problem. Like, it wasn't Microsoft. What? So the thing is, these guys will get remoted into your computer. The way the scam works is they either install a virus or a ransomware infection on the computer, and that's the method of making money. Or more likely, the method of making money is to call, get logged in, talk about how your computer is, broken, infected, problematic in some way, and how they can fix it for about $400. A lot of times they'll install free antivirus. We see this on Macs a lot. They'll install like a free antivirus product on your Mac and tell you that it's a $400 lifetime license, that all you have to do is pay them $400 for the license now. And people do it. People do it all the time. So yeah, long story short, if you see these kind of scam calls where it's asking you to call a phone number or you get a call, it's always a scam. And be careful when you're calling for help, that you're actually going to the website for the product and getting the phone number from their website. Don't trust the Google search result that pops up that tells you the phone number when you Google D-Link phone number and it pops up with a phone number in a box. Don't trust that result. That's not always the accurate result. All right, some would believe it's easier to tax than to wait for proven economics to work. Well, I don't know if it's easier, but it's like a zero-sum analysis, right? So I think in budgeting they call it dynamic scoring. The idea that, so if you have a tax cut, you have to justify that tax cut. Like, how are you going to pay for the tax cut? Because we would have gotten this much revenue, and now because the rate is lower, we're only going to get that much revenue. So how are you going to pay for it? But if you dynamically score the tax cut by saying, by lowering the tax rate, we expect there to be a 26% increase in business activity, which will result in additional tax revenue that will pay for the tax cut plus additional margin. Then all of a sudden the tax cut's paid for. But if you don't allow dynamic scoring, it's really easy. What are you going to cut to get your tax increase? Who you got to take away from somebody? And I guess, I don't know. Part of me is like, we need to really take away from people. Like, does the Department of Homeland Security actually do anything? Like, besides TSA? Like, make the airlines pay for that again. Take it away. Because that's how it always used to be. Airlines will freak out because that's an increased cost. It's going to make ticket prices go up. Well, you'll pay less in taxes. Happy day. Get rid of it. More people will be employed. It'll be great. The union, they actually unionized. The TSA unionized against the taxpayers. So it's like, can you even get rid of the department now? Department of Education, what do they actually do? Like, really, what do they do? They oversee student loans. Well, we're going to forgive those anyway, right? So what do we need the Department of Education for now? Maybe, tell you what, we'll forgive all the student loans if we can eliminate the Department of Education to pay for it. That's how we'll pay for it. It'll be a forever savings for a one-time cost. Because that's the opposite way of it always seems to work, right? We get a one-time benefit for a forever cost. Well, let's get a forever savings for a one-time cut. It's like, let's do that. We'll give you something. We'll give you your student loans. Okay, yay. Like, this is, I'm at this place mentally where it's like, I'm ready for big, bold leaders. And I'm not necessarily, Trump was a big, bold leader, but he was also very bellicose, right? And that didn't resonate with a lot of people. Someone like DeSantis, who has demonstrated, I mean, even Joe Biden had to be like, "You've done a great job, Governor." I mean, big, decisive actions that cut through red tape, that transcended boundaries, that you're going to need a 2-term president to do it, because anything you try to do in your first term, they're going to sue your pants off to slow it down or stop it. So you've got to have 2 terms to get the job done. And I'm not sure that having 1 term and then interrupting it and having a 2nd term gets the job done. But, I don't know if Trump is the guy. I don't know if DeSantis is the guy. I don't know if somebody else is the guy. But I think we need somebody and leadership that is going to, and a Congress that will follow big, bold, decisive action that literally, what do we need the Department of Energy for? For heaven's sake, we don't have any energy. We sold all the oil in the reserve. What's the Department of Energy doing? We got spies in the nuclear facilities that are going back to China now. What is the Department of Energy doing? Can't we consolidate the counter-espionage stuff under the FBI? Can't we take the atomic stuff and maybe put it under commerce? Why do we need all these extra agencies to do all of these things? Why can't we consolidate them? Why can't we chop some of the fat off here and do some big structural changes? Well, I know the real reason why. Structural changes are hard to do. Every Republican president has added to government since George W. Bush. Even Trump, he created Space Force, right? Why did we need Space Force? Why can't the Air Force take over space operations and run it? I'm sure the Air Force wanted to do that. Trump felt we needed a dedicated Space Force for some reason. Maybe there's some intel that I'm not privy to. I don't know. But you created a whole other branch of the military, man. That's like George W. Bush created Department of Homeland Security. Because we need another agency to grab all the information from all the other agencies and make sure they're sharing. Do we really do? Why would they share? Why would they share? Why would Department of Homeland Security share? It's like, it doesn't solve the problem, but I'm preaching at the choir now, so. It's not even Shasta in the vending machines. That's funny. It's pop and not Coke. Haha. It's soda. Cheryl and Rich are here. Good to have you. It was $5.38 for a bag of Reese's Take 5 candy. Yeah, it's expensive anymore, especially chocolate. It's gone up quite a bit. Thor, I'm in the queue for a holiday special. I do want a DVD player in my holiday special. I use the one I have every week. Yep, and we can add it back in, B. We can put it back in for you. You're in the minority, though. I mean, most people aren't using their DVD players at all. Most computers don't even come with DVD players anymore. We're holding out as long as we can, but unfortunately, we had to make it was leave the DVD player and the card reader in and drop it to a 500 gig hard drive, or have a terabyte hard drive without those 2 things. We know that a lot of people are going to use the terabyte hard drive. We know that most people aren't going to use the other 2 things. So we decided, just like that government, we got to cut some things, But we can add that. We can add the DVD drive back in for you. That's not a problem at all. Ethereum. Do they add or remove Ethereum coins to the total? How do they determine how many? If they add, who gets the money? When are they bought? Just wondering. Good questions, Ronald. And I'll be the first to admit here that I have been much more engaged in the service center recently and less engaged in the crypto world. So I know that the price of graphics cards is coming down considerably because no one can mine Ethereum anymore. But the way that coins are distributed now, that they're generated, is through interest payments, basically. So people stake their Ethereum, and they confirm transactions by staking their Ethereum. In exchange for doing that, they receive a little bit of coin back for staking the Ethereum. That's where the new coins are generated. There is no firm cap on the Ethereum blockchain. It's not like Bitcoin where there's going to be X number of coins and that's all there will ever be. So there is no limit on it. But the idea is, as the ecology or the ecosystem grows for Ethereum, the additional coins will be absorbed by the additional demand. Now, that sounds awful lot like fiat currencies, but it is what it is. It's different than Bitcoin. It's a different type of coin. With the shorter life of the SSD, Makes sense. Make sure it has a big one so it'll last longer. Yeah. So SSDs. Actually, we did a story on this a couple weeks ago. The mean failure rate for SSDs and hard drives are about the same. The thing is that, and these are for data center drives, so they're not getting jostled or bumped around. The cost for the SSD per gigabyte is higher. The speed is better, but the speed starts to drop off as the drive wears out. And then the loss of speed is a precursor for a hard drive failure, basically, which is kind of nice to have some kind of precursor as opposed to the mechanical drive that just dies one day, just starts clicking or it starts working erratically. But yeah, the larger your solid state hard drive is, the more empty space you have on the drive, the longer the drive will last. That's because of load leveling technology. So what happens is when you're using the solid state hard drive, think about it like there's 1,000 boxes or 1,000 square foot in the warehouse. And if you keep running boxes and forklifts over the same square feet every time, like a hallway, you're going to wear the floor out. And eventually you'll have to replace those pieces of the floor. So instead, we make sure we use every square foot of floor equally, the same amount. So the wear level, it's load leveled. It wears evenly. Eventually it wears out, of course, like any other thing will, but it lasts a lot longer. So in other words, if we have a big rut in the middle of the room, well, that's a problem. Like, you got to replace that floor now. So if you get a big rut in one area of your solid state hard drive because you only have 10 gigs of available space and it's bouncing back and forth in that 10 gigs all the time, whereas the rest of the drive is chock full of stuff and it never gets accessed, well, those areas are not going to wear out, but that 10 gig space is going to wear out real quick. Same concept. So basically, the bigger your solid state is, the emptier it is, the better off you are. We have one guy who, Pierre in Lincoln, who is like, I want to be in the tester program. We did call him a couple days ago, left him a voicemail, but he says, I want to be in the tester program, but I want a 4 terabyte solid state. Because he wants the biggest drive he can get, and 4 terabyte is it. CHI is still offline from ransomware. How concerned should we be about our financial info? I'm a big believer in being concerned about things you can control. And so you can't control this. Your info is either leaked or it's not. There's no way you're going to know until you're taken advantage of or until CHI says something. As I predicted last week, I said it's going to be at least 2 weeks before they're back online. So here we are 1 week later. They're still offline. My guess is next week you're going to start to see systems coming back online. It does not look like they paid the ransom. So it looks like they're just basically bringing everything back from backups. That takes a lot of time. To be clear, I am in the queue to be an early tester of the holiday special. Okay, so B, there's not really a queue for the early testers. There is a list of people that asked us to give them a phone call when it was time, and we called those people on Thursday. So, unless you've already bought yours. If you already bought yours, B, then you're not in the queue. You've got one ordered. But just a heads up. If you need to get one, make sure you call today. To get an early one anyway. And to get that $100 savings, you can call today and get that. Okay. Is the Amazon support line a scam? Yeah, I've never had any success getting a hold of Amazon by phone for anything, and I have a business account, so I would not use the Amazon telephone support line unless you're on the Amazon website and it's a number on the page they're asking you to call. I've done chat with Amazon before, but I've never done a phone call. I didn't mind Trump's bellicosity. It was entertaining. Yeah, it was entertaining at times. I'll give you that. Biden must not realize that all the oil he keeps releasing is supposed to be saved for our military if there's military action or a supply disruption. Giant hurricane rips out a bunch of oil wells or something. It's there as a safety net. But the federal government doesn't care. Biden's federal government doesn't care that they're going to sell all this oil at a low price and they're going to buy it at a higher price to refill it because they'll just print the money. They don't really care. Why do we care about the price when we can just print the money? But that's what's gotten us into the inflation problem that we're in. And it's not just something from the pandemic forward. This has been building for decades. But the pandemic was just the point of ludicrosity. Is that even a word, ludicrosity? So ludicrous that it was ludicrosity everywhere. And so much money, like hockey stick money printing, that finally the economy was just like, all right, we're going to inflate. Here we go. yeah, it's going to get stupid. And what we're going to see, the long term, there's a real risk of deflation. But everyone says like a risk of deflation, like that's a bad thing. Like, oh, if we deflate, corporate earnings go down, stock values go down. Well, why are they going down? Because the money is more valuable. Because all of a sudden your dollar buys more than it did before. Because there's deflation. What causes deflation? Automation. Big story this week. I didn't cover it on the show, but grocery stores are having problems with self-checkout theft. People just, boop, boop, boop. This one didn't beep. I just throw it in the sack anyway. Boop, 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 boop. So some stores are actually going back to regular checkers because they're losing more in the self-checkout than they would be paying for the checker. Or they're positioning the assistant. And Hy-Vee's got a thing now on their registers. It's like, please save your receipt. We may ask to see it. And for like a couple of weeks, they were really enforcing it. Like there were people asking for felt like you were at Sam's Club trying to get out the door. Like, we see your receipt. Now it's kind of fallen off. But yeah, I mean, it's an issue. And automation, though, is going to be a deflationary force. Imagine a scenario where Elon is able to get his Optimus robot actually able to do things. Like actually able to manufacture things. Replacing human beings on an assembly line with a robot, like a bipedal robot. It will be incredibly deflationary. You need fewer employees. The cost of goods goes down. The cost of producing things goes down. Now, you have the other challenge, though, is like those employees, someone's going to have to build the robots, right? So those employees go from building cars to building robots. So the jobs there'll be creative destruction. Some industries will get destroyed, others will get created. So the employees will migrate into those other industries, just like happened with ATMs. Just like happened, like everyone, the bank teller is going to go extinct. Oh my gosh. You remember back in the day you had to actually go see a teller to do anything? That there was no online banking, there was no ATM, there was no paperless statements. You had to reconcile your checkbook on a worksheet. Wow, how the world has changed, right? But people still have jobs. So it's creative destruction. Some jobs will get destroyed, others will get created. But automation is deflationary. It causes the cost of goods to go down because things can... If we can make things with zero labor input cost, all of a sudden we can compete with China on anything. Anything. You can make all the plastic garbage you want because we have robots doing it. And you have Chinese people doing it. What happens to China if they put robots in and their people don't have jobs? They have so many people that are so involved in manufacturing. Yeah, it would be bad. Aaron, refresh your page. That usually fixes the pausing. CD-ROMs. I make backup copies of my tax returns every year to a CD-ROM. If CD drives go away, it is a reliable and long-time way to store. Flash drives work great. Ron, I would use flash drives, honestly. You can save it on a couple different flash drives. That way you're protecting yourself against flash drives failing. But, my guess is you're accessing your tax returns like once a year when you add new ones to the flash drive. I mean, it's not like your daily use popping this drive in to use it. So yeah, I mean, we can put a DVD drive. If you want to use a DVD, we can put the DVD drive in and you can do it. But there's going to come a day where you won't be able to buy the media anymore for them. It's kind of going the way of the tape drive. Like, where's your zip drive, man? Like, where's your zip disk? Put your zip disk in. It's 100 megabytes. You can store it. You can store stuff on there. People bring in zip disks and they're like, how do I get the stuff off these? And I'm like, you don't. Like, we kept a zip drive in our data recovery lab just in case. It's a USB zip drive. It's for like Windows 98. I mean, but people still bring them in. Jamaica, I'm so jealous, Rick. Oh, man. Did you see where a man-made brain played Pong? I think I saw something along those lines, like some AI was playing Pong or something. Let's see. Will Optimus be like Optimus Prime? I'm sure that's what he was going for when he named it Optimus, but it was nothing like Optimus Prime. It didn't even have working hands. I mean, Optimus Prime can catch a falling human in a metal hand. You notice that like the Transformers can pick people up and not like crush them. I never understood that. Maybe they got some super soft metal or something, or they're just that advanced. They know how hard to press to not crush a human bone between their giant robot hand. The other thing is, okay, when you transform, you're this giant robot that's like 20 people tall, but then you transform down into like a sports car. How does that work? Does the metal shrink? Like the things from the 80s you wonder about, you know? Aaron, I still have a zip drive. My dad saved his photos on some zip. Yeah, they'll tell you. Those are basically big floppy drives. All right, last call for questions, guys. Anything you want to know about holiday specials, anything you want to know about going on at Schrock, we are still hiring one technician in the Omaha Service Center, so if you know somebody there, please have them apply on Indeed.com. We'd love to have them. And we need one more. Uno más. And then Thor can eat dinner. But I need to lose a little weight, to be honest. I went from being a large that was comfortable, like swimming in an extra large, to being like firmly in between a large and an extra large, to being now firmly in an extra large. I grabbed my Schrock shirt off the hanger, put it on this morning, and thought, it's kind of sausagey. What's going on? I have a large and I have extra large. This is my extra large. I grabbed the large this morning. Oops. So yeah, I need to get back down into that large size a little bit. We'll have to see. Oh yeah, Rick, we've talked a little bit about CHI. Last week on the program, we did a whole segment on it. It's ransomware. It's definitely ransomware. They definitely got compromised again, and they're probably not going to pay the ransom, which means they're going to restore everything from backups, which means it's going to take at least 2 weeks. Just data transfer times is at least going to take 2 weeks. And all these systems are interdependent, so it's not like, we restore the one system and then whoop, everything comes back up. All these systems are interdependent. So, you restore one central server and then you get another system working with that thing. Then you get something working with those two things, and then some other thing requires all three of those things. And so it comes back online in stages. But I can tell you that Dr. Strohmeyer, right next door to our Papillion Service Center, is a CHI doc. He has no idea who's coming in for an appointment. He has no idea why they're coming in for an appointment. He can't pull prescription records. He can't pull medical records. Everything is paper, and all of his staff that he has, they're young enough that they've never worked with a paper-based system before. They've never had to organize paper before. So it's weird when you think about it. It's one of those stupid human problems, but organizing files digitally and organizing paper, remember how hard it was for you to go from everything is on paper to everything is digital? Like what a mind shift that was, how many years that took for you to be comfortable to have your tax returns on a CD drive instead of printed out in a file folder in a drawer. Now take these kids who have never experienced paper before and fling them into a paper-based system that doesn't exist. There's no system. You have to make the system. This is like, you're going to have to organize your files on this computer, all your paper, you're going to scan it all, and you're going to save it on the computer, and you're going to make the organizational system. You're going to do it all on your own, and you have to do it go, now, like right now. The paper's coming in, here it comes, paper's coming on your desk. And these kids are just like, grrr, and you can't blame them. They've never, any human being exposed to something completely new, but it's the opposite problem that we all had going through it from the other way. See, I was born in the 80s. Or 70s, late 70s. So I grew up in the 80s. So I'm old enough to remember before technology, but I'm young enough that I'm able to use the technology, that I'm able to adapt to it as it came out. So, I remember having a Simon Says. Like, that was the first microchip toy. I remember, what was it? The Weebles? What, Teddy Ruxpin? What was it? The Department of Defense banned these toys because they were worried that it would monitor what was being said in secret meetings and repeat it to foreign adversaries. That was funny. I remember like Knight Rider was like super duper like science fiction, like an electronic signal to unlock a door. Whoa. Or a car that could drive itself, whoa. Or a car that could talk, whoa. Or a voice-activated car, whoa. Or a watch you could talk to and communicate through, whoa. Like all these things we have now that were all like sci-fi in the 80s, So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny when you think about it. But these poor kids. So yeah, the CHI thing has been a mess. Has been a real mess. All right. Well, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. I could lose a little of this face fat for sure. All right. That's twice now. Yeah, they got hit in 2019 as well. In 2019, a contractor brought in an infected flash drive and stuck it in one of their computers, not realizing it was infected, and that's how he compromised their network. We have not heard yet how this network compromise happened. I'd love to go back to paper, old school and reliable. You see that you need to go to a doctor right now and be like, hey, I'm available for the next couple weeks. You can pay me a ridiculous amount of money and I will make your office fly because I know how to do it. These kids don't. Then the computers will all come back on and you have to get all the paper into the computers then. And then it'll be like, then you can retire again. It's like a short-term gig economy thing. All right, guys. My wife still doesn't trust Quicken when it balances our checking account. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for the After Schrock today. I appreciate you being here. Love to see you in the service centers if you need anything at all, if your computers are acting up. If you have an older modular computer, please be sure you're taking advantage of this core upgrade deal. I cannot begin to express to you what a phenomenal deal this is. It doesn't matter how old. If you have an old Schrock computer in your basement that is so old and covered in dust and debris that it hasn't been touched, we can upgrade it and make it into a brand new $900 computer again for a fraction of the cost. So after this month, we're going to get rid of the core upgrades because it's demand shifting. A lot of people are getting core upgrades that would otherwise get new computers. Going into the holiday season, the core upgrades, they're going to go back to full price, which is usually price prohibitive after labor. But in the meantime, guys, take advantage of this deal. You can get a Ryzen 5, you can get a Ryzen 3, you can even get the same Ryzen 7 chip in your core upgrade that we're putting in the holiday special if you want. It's like $150 more expensive for the chip. So it's an amazing opportunity to take advantage of breathing some new life into an old modular computer if that's the route you want to go. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you all next week for Compute This. Have a great weekend.